right, what you're about to see was more or less an epic fail. I shot two nice bucks, one solid 2.5-year-old, one mature 8-point. I didn't retrieve either one. I did retrieve a small basket 8 with my muzzleloader. The only one of those I got on film was the 2.5-year-old. I had pretty good footage of him and did not retrieve him. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe button. I was a little hesitant to actually post this as it's super embarrassing. I consider myself a pretty good shot with my bow, but not so much this year. So it is what it is, and it happens, and here it is. November 11th. We came out yesterday. It was so cold. It was way too cold for me to do a tutorial. The weather was 16 degrees, but it felt more like 2. We sat all day, didn't see anything. Today it's 20 degrees, pretty cold still. I just had 6 does feeding around me. My wind's been perfect all morning. It's been blowing over this swamp. And then, don't you know, right when the deer started feeding, they started swirling a little bit. They almost caught wind of me once or twice, and eventually they did, and kind of worked their way back up the hill. I knew there was a buck behind them. Once they got up the hill, they started working the ridge line, and then out he comes, 136 yards. He was a good shooter. I tried to call. Shit. I just made a horrible shot on a big ass buck. I'm talking. I don't know how this deer did not hear me talking. I look up, and 15 yards from me is a wide, old, mature 8-point with his head down. And he's coming at me, but he kitty corners and he has his nose down. So I had to decide, do I stand or not? So I stood up real slow. You'll probably be able to see me do that. I didn't really have time to grab my camera. He was standing 12 yards away. I was so high that I hit him. When he turned and ran, I could see the left side of his body because he was facing me on the right side. I could see the left side, and he had a hole down in the lung. So I got one lung, which would probably be enough to kill him, but I don't know how far he'll go, so I don't want to push my luck. I watched him jet and run around the swamp. I probably could see him for 150 yards. Just, you know, running. I mean, he was hurt. He couldn't pick his tail up, but he definitely wasn't doing any death wobbles or anything like that. It's 10:15. Probably give him about 5 hours. I mean, from that distance I was going to be a little high anyway, but that was not my proudest moment. So that by far was the best buck I've had a shot at all year. I've only seen 3 shooters, passed a lot of little bucks. I've been really patient, and it finally paid off November 11th, and then I didn't execute it. I saw another real big buck cruising the ridge earlier. John shot a little buck this morning, had a shot at a real big buck. I don't know if he made contact yet. He just climbed out of the stand to look. It's just unfortunate. Like, you learn something. I hope I find this deer, but I'm not holding my breath. I've had really bad experiences with one lung deer, especially big burly ones like that. I know that they can go a long, long way. So stay tuned. We'll see what happens.
Sometime around mid-morning, I pulled out of the stand and headed over to John. We got right on the blood trail and trailed his deer about 50 yards before we found it dead. We field dressed it and got it out to the car. We took a long lunch, waited about 6 hours, and headed back to the woods to trail my buck. We trailed the blood for about 300 yards before we lost it, combed another 200 or 300 yards, but never could find any other sign of the animal. While we were trailing, we found a couple nice sheds, but never could retrieve the buck.
Ate it all up.
Nice shed.
Ate it here, ate it up here. Yep.
All right, this second one you're about to see is a pretty solid 2.5-year-old. It was a few days after that last one that I debacled, and I really thought I smoked this deer, and yet I never retrieved him. So embarrassing moments number 2, but it is what it is, and here it is.
Alright, I haven't had a chance to watch that footage yet because my phone died. This is a really hard tree to film out of, so I just brought my GoPro today. Plus I was messing around with that camera the other day and I lost a really, really nice buck. So I've been kind of bummed. So I thought, hey, let me just put the camera down for a minute and get back to basics. But I thought, oh, well, I'll bring my GoPro. It's better than nothing. It's a really hard tree to film out of, but I'm super stoked. I just stuck about a 2.5-year-old 8-point. I think he's one I got on trail cam. But this is why this tree is so hard to film out of. It's a three-pronged cherry tree. But I can't shoot between those 2 trees with my bow. With a gun I can, but not with my bow. So, I mean, it is what it is. I stuck him right here at about 15 yards. 10 o'clock, I shot him at about 9. I'm pretty sure he's dead, but I'm gonna give him about another hour anyway. Regroup, watch the footage, and then come back out and trail him. So, see you then.
The footage came out all right, minus the shot when my bow dropped. It made the arrow a little blurry. But after reviewing the footage, I sent it to a couple of my friends. I'm pretty sure I smoked the deer. I might have been a touch low. I'm waiting for my dad to show up. I'm colorblind, so it's really hard for me to trail deer. I like having some reinforcements. I can see big puddles and big drops, but I can't see little specklets. So as soon as he gets here, we're gonna go trail it, and hopefully I find him right there dead. So check out the footage. I'll get you with trailing here shortly, and thanks for watching. Thought it did.
I mean, it looks like it. It's like a heart shot. Then there's a cloud of blood. I couldn't see it.
This is not the first deer to get in this swamp that I've had trouble finding. You'll kind of see what we're working with. Got some blood. Dark red blood. I think I hit lower than I thought. Should still be a kill shot, assuming I can find him in all the scrub brush. So, I don't know. Time will tell. From here, I'm kind of at a loss. Don't know what direction he went. Giving it my best. Unfortunately, I was never able to recover that deer, so I kind of moved on. I didn't do much hunting during gun season. I waited until muzzleload season in the beginning of December and took a long road trip to Genesee County, Michigan for a 3-day muzzleload hunt. On the first morning of the hunt, I had my best hunt of the year. I saw 40 plus deer, a half dozen bucks, 1 shooter. I saw 2 bucks fighting, which was a really cool experience, although I couldn't get it on film. After that morning, the woods went absolutely silent. That evening, I didn't see a single deer. I hunted all day on day 2 in the same area, and again I didn't see a deer. I relocated slightly for the morning of my final day, and again, I did not see a deer. At this point, I made the difficult decision to change areas altogether. I didn't know anything about this area in Genesee, so after getting a tip from my buddy Ryan and studying Google Maps for the large portion of the morning, I decided I had enough information to relocate. I snuck in early afternoon and got set up as quietly as I could. I was starting to think I was going to go home empty-handed. And then, right at dusk, a 1.5-year-old 8-point came in behind me and got settled in at about 90 yards. I made a perfect shot behind his shoulder. He ran about 40 yards and I got to watch him fall. I was unable to capture the shot on film because the tree I was filming out of was so big I could not wrap my camera arm around it.
All right, unfortunately, I probably could have got this deer on film. He came in behind the tree from me, and just after the season I had and I hadn't had a deer, and I hadn't seen a deer in a few days, and I wanted some meat in the freezer. I shot him. All I got was the mini after interview. I was out by myself and way back in the woods, and it was a torture hauling him out, so I'm a little out of breath in the mini after interview. Thanks for watching, man, and you know, I hope to do a little bit better next year, so stay tuned.
All right, you couldn't see me nail this guy, a little 8-point. He came in behind the tree. I couldn't get my camera around, but I thought after the year I've had, he's got to go down. So meat for the freezer, and now the hard work begins. Nice little basket 8, but I'll take it.